So the three goals of sodium transport within the kidney. Okay, so three goals of sodium transport within the kidney are: one, it is to maintain the GFR within normal limits. Your kidneys don't want to mess up with the glomerular filtration, because the conservation or excretion of one substance should not disturb the conservation or excretion of another substance. Okay, it all has to go simultaneously without affecting each other. Okay, conservation or excretion of substance A, for example, should not disturb the conservation or excretion of substance B. For example, say substance A is sodium and substance B is creatinine. You want the body to conserve sodium. At the same time, you don't want the body to conserve creatinine. You want it to excrete creatinine. So that is how the GFR has to be within normal limits, and the kidney has to find another way to either reabsorb or excrete sodium. So the number two concept, the number two goal of the sodium transport in the kidney is the amount of sodium that is delivered to the distal nephron should be within narrow limits. Okay, it should be within normal narrow limits. You know why? Because all of you know the nephron. You have the proximal tubule. Here you have the loop of Henle, and then you have your distal tubule. So here you have an important organ called your macula densa, isn't it? There is an important organ called macula densa in the beginning or the end of the loop of Henle, or the beginning of the distal convoluted tubule, and this is the starting of the distal nephron. Now, your macula densa is actually sensing your sodium in the tubular fluid, in the fluid that reaches the macula densa, and depending on that, it decides whether the vascular tree is adequately filled or not. Okay, whether your extracellular fluid volume is appropriate or not. Is it more or is it less? The way the kidney senses that is by the amount of sodium and chloride that reaches the macula densa. Okay, that is how your kidney regulates. Now, if this volume were to change each and every time, for example, if the kidney wants to excrete more sodium, for example, and it sends all the sodium, if all the sodium were to reach the macula densa, the body will think that there is so much volume in the body, and it will start reducing the GFR. The kidney will start reducing the GFR because it is sensing so much sodium and chloride in the macula densa. It thinks that the extracellular fluid volume is too much for the body to handle, and it will reduce the glomerular filtration rate, which can be counterproductive. It will lead to increase in urea and creatinine and all the toxic metabolites. Whereas, say, for example, the body wants to conserve all the sodium, okay, and then nothing much of sodium reaches the macula densa, then the body is going to think that there is no water at all. And then again, your RAAS system is activated, it is hyperactivated, and more sodium and more water will be retained in the body. It will be reabsorbed in the body. So that also can be counterproductive. So with the macula densa in mind, okay, so as to not disturb what we discussed now, if you picked it up, is nothing but your tubuloglomerular feedback. Okay, what we just explained now, the scenario that we just explained now, is your tubuloglomerular feedback, which is basically very much entwined with the transport of sodium within the kidney. Okay, within the kidney tubules, the amount of sodium chloride that reaches the macula densa actually decides how the kidney perceives the volume status of the body. Is the patient hypovolemic? Is the patient hypervolemic? How does the kidney know? The kidney knows through the macula densa. So if different amounts of sodium were to reach the macula densa, that would become a trigger for it to either downregulate or upregulate the RAAS system, therefore becoming counterproductive in maintaining the homeostasis of the body. And therefore, the amount of sodium that reaches the distal nephron should be within narrow limits, so that there is no much alteration of your GFR. So point number one is achieved through point number two. So how to actually regulate sodium? Okay, if the amount of sodium that reaches the distal nephron also should be same, and then the GFR also has to be within normal limits, then how can we actually regulate the sodium? So that's where all your extrarenal signals come, and that will all act on the distal nephron beyond the macula densa. Okay, it will all act beyond the macula densa. That is where basically we are talking about your ADH and vasopressin, which acts on the collecting duct, as you all know. Okay, your ADH or your vasopressin, actually antidiuretic hormone, acts on the collecting duct. So that is why it acts on the collecting duct and not in the other parts of the nephron, because you really don't want to disturb the homeostasis of all the other substances that are being filtered, conserved, and excreted by the kidney, all the while. So I hope you understood this slide very well. Okay, what is the aim of the kidney in regulating sodium transport? You want the sodium transport to be okay, but at the same time, you don't want to disturb anything else. The GFR has to be within normal limits. The tubuloglomerular feedback, that is delivery of sodium to the distal nephron, should be within normal limits. And all your external signals, okay, whereby the main signal that I'm referring to is your signal of antidiuretic hormone, that has to act beyond the distal nephron, which is in the collecting duct.